Thank you, Senator. Senator Gerald Crockwell, you have 8 minutes.
Minister, you're welcome to the House, and I would like to say, Minister, that I will be supporting this bill, and I congratulate you for bringing it forward. However, I'm struck that since the onset of the financial crisis, the passage of 2 major corruption tribunals reports, particularly Mahon and Moriarty, that a number of white-collar crime prosecutions is sorely lacking in this country, while the number of offences and different pieces of legislation that these houses have passed is in fact quite remarkable and numerous. There is a disconnect, Minister, between your desire and your predecessor's desire to place more emphasis on combating corruption and white-collar crime and investigators' capacity to identify these crimes when they are occurring and to ensure that they are correctly prosecuted. Minister, I'd like to ask you, with all of these new corruption offences, what state bodies will be principally charged with investigating any alleged offences committed under this Act? Will the new offences under the Act be subject to mandatory reporting obligations similar to those offences specified in the Schedule to Criminal Justice Act 2011? There's a lot of talk in recent weeks about the importance of adequately resourcing the Director of Corporate Enforcement to ensure that their ongoing investigations into INM are not impeded. But, Minister, it was only a few months prior to those same persons were calling to disband the Office of Corporate Enforcement after revelations that one of the investigators had shredded evidence in the course of the Sean Fitzpatrick trial. It should be a mandatory requirement that with the introduction of every new criminal offence that those offences are matched not just with adequate but with appropriate new resources. While 19th out of 183 states is the most recent corruption index, it's not bad. We are still considered more corrupt than developed European countries such as Denmark, Norway, Sweden and the UK. In each of these states, white-collar investigation and prosecution is more adequately and appropriately resourced, and that's where I believe Ireland continues to be sorely lacking. It's no use having all these laws if bodies charged with investigating these crimes either don't have the skills or the manpower to do what's required. Lessons have been learned from trials such as the Sean Fitzpatrick trial, where prosecutions were unsuccessful, and indeed other high-profile cases such as the Competition Authority raiding of CRH's offices, only for the Supreme Court to say that they had overreached on their powers. It seems to me that the only agency of the state that understands criminal investigation is the only agency that has undertaken criminal investigations for the last century, and that's An Garda Síochána. Why is there no dedicated standalone division of An Garda Síochána where they alone are charged with investigating all white-collar crimes and executing all search warrants and collating all documentary evidence? The piecemeal approach we have in Ireland with different state agencies have different investigatory powers is not working and is leading to hapless prosecutions. As we debate the passage of this bill through this House, I would ask you, Minister, to consider how these offences shall be resourced, and as we continue to develop a lengthy book of statutory white-collar criminal offences, perhaps, Minister, you might explain how we can improve our investigation and prosecution of these crimes. Minister, I've spoken over the last few days in this House on the Carl Trone doctrine or Carl Trone principle and how it finishes up masking the wrongdoers in public life, and unfortunately ministers take the fall for decisions that are made that they may not even be aware of at the time those decisions are made. And we've seen that particularly in the cervical cancer scare recently. We saw it in the PTSB, we saw it in the Bridget McCall case. All these cases were taken, the state defence was commenced, I am sure, without the minister being advised of what was going on until they were already up and running, because the minister can't be in every department and every part of every department all the time. Similarly, as this legislation goes through, the legislation is good. You've done a good job here, so you have. It's a bit late in coming, but hey, it takes a long time to work these things through the system, so you're to be congratulated for it. And it's my view that what we need to do now is to ensure that we resource the offices correctly, give them the powers they need to be able to detect any white-collar crime and to ensure that prosecutions are successful. We do not want to see unsuccessful prosecutions. And I know, Minister, speaking to you even casually, that's not something that you would want either. I know that you're desperately anxious to get this through, and it is my hope that we will facilitate a speedy passage of the bill through the House for you, and that it will be enacted by June as you requested today. So I thank you for coming to the House, Minister. Thank you. Lasca Ireland.